Welcome back, everyone. Your loyal Captain Guild 100 has returned finally after 2 months of being MIA because of work. I'm finally back in the groove again. I did 2 live streams this morning, and now we're coming back with a banger with the video. And what better way to do this than continue our Saiytonian Deku Part 2. Okay, guys. To tell you the truth, right now, I had also gotten a new phone, and I had gotten a well, because of this new phone I had gotten, that means I lost some of my data, which included my old intros and outros. So I had to completely remake a new one. But in all honesty, it needed a remake anyway because it was really old what I was doing. So hey, hopefully you guys like the new intros and outros that I made. But hey, let's just go with it. So that being said, hope you guys enjoy this. Let's get to it. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Kill the intro.
Hey Ross, sauce it up. She can get dangerous, yeah. She can get dangerous, yeah. You staying with a lame beast, yeah. But I'm staying with the gang beast, cause that's gang shit. Like, ooh, and they gon' stay by my side, cause them boys down to ride, yeah. Like, ooh, she tryna play with my mind. I can't be wasting no time, yeah.
Alright, so the last time we had left off, Inko had brought her new baby Izuku home. Had brought her new child home, baby Izuku. And he Misaru and Mitsuki had seen him as well. And Inko told them the truth about what happened. They just didn't believe it, think that Inko was pulling their leg. About how her son is like pretty much an alien, how he kind of does look like her a little bit, but he has green eyes like she does. So, oh well, it at least matches and whatnot, so it doesn't really matter too much. So, baby Izuku gets to grow up with baby Bakugo. And, oh boy, that's kind of a crazy thing on how it goes. So let's start with the infant life. As an infant, Izuku was always sort of a weird child. I mean, besides the fact that him being an alien and having a tail, you know, he has a black tail along with his black hair. It still goes with it. Just go with it. Along with him being an alien, he showed powers extremely early. And thankfully, okay guys, just so you guys won't say, wait, wouldn't Izuku transform into a great ape at the sight of a full moon? Thankfully, because of the book that Inko has and she read through it, she sees about these Saiyan transformations and about, you know, the full moon, the blood waves and what it does to the Saiyans increases. So Inko makes absolute sure to keep Izuku out of the moonlight, out of the nighttime every time there's a full moon. She makes sure to keep him inside and to keep like the blinds closed and the curtains like covered. And always told Izuku not to, you know, look outside at nighttime no matter what goes on. But hey, in a world full of superpowers, it wouldn't be that weird, but still gotta make sure about that. But okay, back to the infant life. Izuku was always a weird child, and what do I mean by that? He showed signs of his powers early. His Kryptonian side was he always loved to be outside, pretty much. He loved the outside world and what was going on. It was him naturally being drawn to the sun, so him just absorbing more and more sunlight. And oh boy, I know I never explicitly said what version of Superman we're using here, but we're using Comp Superman. Even like the newest one that we have in the comics today. So that's not really too big of an issue here. We're combining all the Superman into the ones that we have today. And mixing that with Legendary Super Saiyan and Massive Potential. Yeah, this deck was pretty much busted off rip. And that means Superman, like Superboy Prime as well. Prime 1 million and all that. So his solar absorption is actually really extremely potent. Even through the atmosphere, he's soaking up the most prominent solar rays as if he was outside the atmosphere. As if there was no ozone layer to block most of it. So Izuku is taking in all of the solar rays here, and he's growing stronger and stronger by the day because of that massive potential I talked about in the part 1. So, with that being said, well, even if he was a baby, killing like an infant Kryptonian would be completely impossible anyway. But a Saiytonian like a Saiyan baby, it would be kind of hard as well. But hey, this was ridiculous. So almost immediately after like a few months after being a newborn, Izuku started to fly. Like imagine holding a baby Bakugo. Imagine a baby Izuku holding a baby Bakugo as they just fly through the air. It is ridiculous to get them down sometimes, but thanks to Inko with her telekinesis, she's able to bring Izuku and Katsuki down sometimes. And I say sometimes because Izuku is infinitely stronger than her with her telekinesis, so he would break out of that a lot sometimes and keep flying with Katsuki. But thankfully, they always kept the window shut and they were inside the house. It was just a matter of time before they came back down. But yeah, even if Inko, Mitsuki, and Masaru would grab Izuku, he would still fly carrying all of them in the air, and you just see a baby Bakugo laughing about it. So growing up, Katsuki and Izuku were incredibly great friends. Even at the age of 4, Inko never really went to the quirk doctor to get him registered, but she just registered it down on her own, as she took notice that well, since she has the books and she knows how Izuku's powers work, she just wrote it down as okay, hold on. I don't really know how to make this sound. Okay, Inko would write Izuku's quirk down as... Dang, I actually don't have a name. If you guys have good names for what would you call Saiytonian's Deku for a quirk, even though he's an alien, what would Inko register this quirk down as? Well, register his power under quirk as, because I don't have any good names. Like Solar Monkey or Sun Monkey. Nothing much that I can really think of. But if you guys have a better name for this, then you tell me in the comment section, because as of right now, I have no good names for this. Okay, now we're gonna grow on into like toddler life and Izuku's school life. I mean, going through school, Izuku was friends with everyone. He could fly. Well, he had many of his abilities. I mean, off rip, he could fly incredibly fast. He had incredible attributes, and he could use many of his abilities, like his laser eyes, his super strength, his freeze breath, and many others. Because, you know, Kryptonians, he even had telekinesis like his mom did. And many other powers that he would soon unlock, like later in the future. But this was absolutely amazing. Izuku never knew that he was this strong. Well, wait a minute. Well, let me take that back. Izuku was always happy about his strength, but some kids felt jealous or envious of Izuku because he was born with such a great quirk, they called it. So Izuku's gonna grow up thinking he has a quirk all along. So every time I say quirk, Izuku is an alien, but he doesn't really know that part. So we don't have to worry about that. But kids grow up envious of Izuku, saying that he has such a great and amazing quirk. Even though he had friends and so many of them were happy for him, lots of others grew up jealous. Because even though his quirk is like what seems to be monkey-like because of his tail, he seems to have a lot more powers than just related to that. And besides all of that, Izuku was always the strongest. Just like Superman, he realized that he had to hold back a lot, like 99.999999, infinite 9% of his power on a daily basis, like every second. Or because if not, he would accidentally hurt someone. Because he did one time, but thankfully this was to a kid with a regeneration quirk. So what had happened exactly was, okay, thankfully Izuku, let me think of a moment. Oh, I got it. Okay, so what would happen is that one time Izuku and his friends were playing at the playground. Nothing too crazy. Until one kid came at Izuku, and accidentally on reflex, Izuku's tail came up and smacked the kid in the face, causing the kid to have a really bad bruise on like his cheek. And I mean a really bad bruise. It looked like he got punched by a grown man with a brass knuckles quirk. So that kid actually started to like cry because of the pain, but thankfully because of his regeneration quirk, his face regenerated and it came right back. And now I know what some of you guys might be saying. Well, with Izuku's power being like that, wouldn't he have just killed the kid outright? Well, yes and no. Yes, because of the power, but no, because Izuku was consciously like holding back. And even though his tail came out on instinct, somehow his body just knew how much power to use in order to not kill the kid, just get the kid away from him, pretty much. So Izuku knew that he was way stronger than everybody else, and he had to hold back a lot of his power. But still, him growing up didn't mean that he became just like Superman. Even though he was kind-hearted, Izuku still liked battle and loved the art of loved getting stronger, just like any other Saiyan. So whenever he saw heroes on TV, he would always mimic their movements and just want to fight like strong like villains like they do. And Izuku would love to be in the action. Izuku even begged his mom to take him to martial arts classes, which she ended up doing because Izuku wouldn't stop begging for it. And Izuku became the top student in his class. I mean, why wouldn't he? He adapts very quickly. He learns very fast. He can pretty much see the movements in slow motion. So of course he picked up on it greatly. So you can pretty much guess how busted this Izuku is going to be. Oh boy, what am I doing to myself? Okay. So throughout Izuku's life, he's always grown up knowing victory, being the strongest and all, because there's no kryptonite in this goddamn AU, because like I said, Superman Prime 1 million, Superboy Prime, there's like not really any kryptonite that can affect him, so that stuff's not gonna work. And even if you manage to get like whatever, some type of red solar radiation, that he still has his Saiyan side. So even if you can weaken his Kryptonian side, his Saiyan side is still growing strong. He still has ki. So yeah, that's not really gonna stop much of anything. Izuku's just way too busted for all that stuff to even work on him. But whatever. Even though he's been growing so strong throughout the years, he's inadvertently training, making his potential rise up even higher and higher. Oh boy. So throughout the years, Izuku has just grown so extremely powerful. And okay, I gotta hold on. I'm thinking of a way to make this seem really cool. Yeah, I'll do it later in life. Okay, so we're just gonna do one major time skip. Izuku is now at the end of his like high school years in school, and pretty much being this far in his life, yeah, it's incredible. Him and Bakugo grew up as the absolute best of friends in this AU, inseparable throughout time. And in this one, Bakugo was actually canonically a lot stronger in this timeline because a stronger Izuku, meaning he had a stronger rival. So that means him and Izuku would train all of the time. And I mean a lot. Whenever Bakugo wasn't busy with homework or doing anything, he wanted to be training. He was always training with Izuku because, well, he could never really hurt him with his explosions. So Bakugo could always go all out and not have to worry about anything. And also the best part is, Izuku learned how to manipulate his bioelectric aura. Is that how you say it? Yeah. So just like in My Adventures with Superman, so he could cover that with Bakugo and take him to like a whole different part of like the planet where they could just train to their heart's content. So we have a much stronger Bakugo in this timeline. And this is a Bakugo who's known Deku for years, ever since they were born. Keep in mind, they're like 18 right now. Bakugo's like, about to be 19, and so is Deku. So this has been going on for 19 years. Well, hold on. For like 16 years. Oh wait, no, 15 years, my bad. Yeah, this has been going on for 15 years, ever since Bakugo got his quirk. So, if I had to scale where would Bakugo be at? Okay, it's been 15 years, okay, they get their quirk at the age of 4. It's been 15 years and Bakugo can go all out without having to worry about actually hurting Deku, and can use his quirk to his heart's content. And Deku's always been taking him to a barren wasteland so they can just train without any repercussions. So, I don't want to make Bakugo too broken, but I still want to keep it realistic. So to keep it in the realm of possibilities, but still without making Bakugo V less of where he would be, I'm gonna have to give this to Bakugo in his okay, I gotta push this pretty far. I got it. Bakugo would be at his Island level of power right now. Yeah, Island level of power into the training camp, like where he was kidnapped by the League of Villains and taken to the base. So he would be at that level of power right now. So yeah, things are pretty crazy for Bakugo and Izuku. The teacher comes in, says the normal shtick about how he has papers here for what the students might want to be in the future. They all complain, but then he throws them in the air, knowing that they would all want to be heroes, saying why even bother. And this time Bakugo doesn't say that D-lister thing. Even though he's very cocky and arrogant like usual, Deku's kind-heartedness has actually rubbed off on him a bit. Now, I'm not saying this is making him like a pure of heart guy like Izuku is, but this has definitely made Bakugo, he has a better attitude, basically. Instead of like an arrogant jerk who looks down on everybody, he's just this guy who's, okay, he's a humble jock, pretty much. Bakugo is a humble jock. He has that arrogance too in his voice and everything, knowing he's better than you, but he's humble about it. Like, yeah, you can still yeah, go ahead and train. You probably won't get as good as me, but hey, you can still get there. You can still become the best version of you. Even though that best version of you may not be better than me, it's still the better version of you. That's pretty much Bakugo's mentality of everything. And Izuku is still Izuku, so why bother with that? But he doesn't say that D-lister thing. The teacher sees that Bakugo and Izuku want to go to UA. Bakugo still makes that whole speech about how he's going to be the #1 hero, all that, yada yada yada. But this time, no one really makes fun of Izuku because, well, he already has a quirk in this timeline. So there's no reason to jump on him about that. So finally, here comes a lot of things. Bakugo's, well, Izuku offered to train with the Katsuki just like all the other times he did. But no, Bakugo refused this time, saying he wanted to do his own training for the next year. I always do it for I know it's 10 months, but I always do it for a year. Don't hop on my case about that. But he refused this time, saying this time he didn't want Izuku's help. He wanted to see how far he could get with his own level of training and with his own skill. Wanted to see how far he could push himself. And Izuku could respect that. So after they agreed, Bakugo just took, they both went their separate ways and went on with their day. Izuku, because he didn't get his notebook burned by Bakugo or anything of the sort like that, well, he doesn't really do that in this timeline. He just ended up, going home. He just ended up, just going home. Walking home like usual and normal. Oh yeah, I don't really need this photo of Kid Goku anymore, so I can just move on. Okay, so upon making it home, Izuku sees his mom once again. They exchange their hellos, and then they finally walk in. Izuku's like 18, about to be 19 now, so Inko finally wants to get it off her chest and tell Izuku about his true origins. And Izuku would ask, what does she mean? And this is when Inko, finally tells Izuku about everything. About, like, how she's completely infertile, and how he's not really her biological son like that. And Izuku takes all of this information, but he doesn't have, but here's the strange thing. He doesn't have one of those identity crises or anything about that. Because to Izuku, Inko is still his mother and all of that, and that will not change. Like, sure, he's an alien, all that, yada yada yada, but he never grew up, like, learning any of that. He grew up with her, with Inko Midoriya, and knowing Inko Midoriya as his mother. So none of that is actually going to change. He just says, well, alright then. And finally, Izuku is given the book about his powers explicitly and how to use them. Wait, what am I saying? Nah, screw that. Izuku already knows about his powers and what he could potentially do. this just dives deeper into them more and gives a more in-depth explanation on how they work biologically and how they could, well, be manipulated and coerced into something else. But cool. For the next year, Izuku would pretty much just improve on his stats all around, because now Izuku would Izuku would train a lot, actually, increasing his strength by a whole lot. But the thing is, he can't really train on the planet, because it's only been light training and light sparring with Bakugo. Well, for Bakugo, it was always heavy training, but for Deku, he could never train on the planet, because if he did, he would just destroy everything. I mean, come on now. But after Inko telling him about everything, Izuku finally realizes that he has to train off planet for the next, like, year and a half. Well, just year. My bad, I said year and a half. Okay. And Inko pretty much allows this, knowing that Izuku is pretty much invincible. So, after a while, Izuku just goes outside and just flies up outside of Earth's atmosphere. And he can do this quickly as well. And, okay. Izuku can breathe in space. I know in some continuities, Superman can breathe in space sometimes, and sometimes he can't. But I'm just going with the fact that he can, just to say screw it all. I don't really want to go through that. After knowing that his power comes from the sun, when Izuku goes to he wants to go to a far planet, so that way he won't kind of disturb the solar system. So he shoots out into the outer space. What am I talking about? Into the vacuum of space. And he can feel his power growing even stronger and stronger thanks to him getting closer to the sun and kind of passing it up a bit. But just for the sake of it, he goes into the sun on purpose and pretty much taking a sun bath, soaking up a whole lot more power than he intended to. Now, I know what you guys may say, like Superman being a Kryptonian, he has limits to what he can absorb. But thanks to Izuku's Saiyan side, and they can grow infinitely stronger, and their forms, they can just keep adding on more forms. There is no limit to the solar radiation that Izuku could actually absorb. He can just keep continuously absorbing the sun. Now, that would shrink the sun if he did something like that, but he does be there for just 1 hour. And when he comes out, he feels like extremely strong. Like, holy crap, he can barely contain the power type of strong. But thanks to his Saiyan side, oh lord, that power is about to be put to something. So he just shoots off into the solar system much faster than before. And he's doing this all in base form, by the way. And finally lands on a nearby planet with a blue star. Yeah, I'm doing this for the sake of doing it. I don't really care too much. So his power only grows more and more as Izuku now starts to do heavy training with his body. Now, him being able to go all out, he can finally realize what he's capable of fully. And, oh boy. Izuku can destroy planets with ease without even trying. This type of stuff is extremely, extremely dangerous. So yeah, you guys would know. If Izuku decided to punch the planet of the Earth, he'd accidentally blow it up. And I'm not joking, with just 15% of his power, by punching the planet with 15% of his power, Izuku would destroy the whole planet. But now it's time for him to dive deeper into his well of power. It's time that he tries to unlock Super Saiyan for himself. This time he goes farther deeper into the universe because he doesn't want to destroy everything. So Izuku closes his eyes and focuses his ki and his power. And he starts to raise his energy as high as he possibly can. Now, I know what some of you guys might say, isn't anger the key to Super Saiyan? Yes, it is. But look at Goten and Trunks. They can just do it because of the higher S cells. So I'm just going to say Izuku can feel the higher amount of power accumulating in his body and drawing power from his Saiyan side and his tail. And once he feels it, the power completely explodes, letting him become a Super Saiyan. He's a Super Saiyan now. And the accumulated power that he feels with this is absolutely incredible. It's honestly kind of unfair that he has this much power, knowing that no one would be able to stop him. Even in his base form, with just a flick of his finger, he could pretty much just kill anybody. Like, his laser eyes, his frost breath, his telekinesis, his, super speed, everything is just far too much for anyone to ever even challenge him. What can anyone honestly do to him? But it doesn't really matter, because Izuku's only desire is to fight stronger villains and to get stronger. So, with this being said, he wants to train with this Super Saiyan form for the next year. Until, like, finally the entrance exam pops up. I mean, I'm not even going to bore you with the details. Izuku pretty much cleans the entire entrance exam. Like it's Tuesday, like it's barely a chore day. And without even breaking a sweat. He winds one fist back, goes up to the 0-pointer, and just punches it. You know how, let me try to describe this for you. I got it. You know how Saitama pretty much fought that lion dude with consecutive normal punches? That's pretty much Izuku, but with just one punch of his arm. He punched the entire 0-pointer in half and just blew it. The top half of the 0-pointer completely disintegrated. It's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Everyone is left jaw-dropped at Izuku's power as he lands back onto the floor. He did save Ochako and a lot of other people, gaining a lot of hero points, but the villain points here, he breaks the all-time record. He gets over 1,000 points without even trying, and obviously he gets accepted into the school. So finally, the first day of UA is here. Oh boy. This type of stuff is actually really funny. As he walks into the class, everyone notices him as the person who got first place in the entrance exam. They all walk up to him, wanting to know about him, all this, all that, yada yada yada. And then finally, Aizawa walks in. Hello, I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. Alright, just no time for introductions, just put these on and come outside. Gym uniforms, and they go outside. They see that they see that they're on a field full of training gear. And Aizawa pretty much tells them about this. They're going to be doing a quirk apprehension test, and whoever is in last place will be expelled. That they have very limited time to be heroes here, and they better show some promise, otherwise they're going to be expelled off rip. It's not even a joke. Deku pretty much washes everybody here. Due to his alien physiology, it doesn't even work. And finally, when it comes to the ball throw, Aizawa does look at Izuku to try to erase his quirk. But Izuku still throws the ball into outer space anyway. And Aizawa finds that weird. Because, well, how did that work? Well, Izuku's an alien, so it wouldn't even work anyway. He finds Izuku an anomaly because he can't erase his quirk. He just absolutely can't. Strange. But oh well. Everyone takes their seat, and well, obviously Mineta is in last place. I don't feel like expelling him because I don't really want to change the story too much, so we'll just keep Mineta in for the sake of it. I know for all my Shinso lovers, believe me, I'm a lover of Shinso as well. But I just don't feel like changing the story because I'm lazy as of right now. So continuing on with that. Finally, it's the next day of the school day. Everyone is pretty much now going on about... I got it. The class rep and the deputy. Everyone chooses for it to be Izuku, but Izuku in this one doesn't really want that position because him leading people doesn't seem like that he would be that great of a thing. So he still gives it to Ida like in the original. And it's because his Saiyan side honestly doesn't want it, and he's focusing on himself and getting stronger, even though he's a nice guy. Well, and him being a nice guy, he ended up giving it to Ida because he wanted it. So class rep is Ida like in the usual, and the deputy is Yajirozu. Cool. Okay, now, for that one, it's still the bomb training test. And I'm going to keep the teams the same, because when All Might walks in, he's known as the strongest hero. But Izuku knows he can sense All Might's energy and his power. Even though All Might is the strongest hero, like, compared to everyone on this planet, yes, Izuku's ki sensing, life energy sensing has gotten that potent to where he can sense, well, oh boy, everybody's energy on the planet. And All Might is larger than pretty much anyone's. And there are very few that can match All Might to his level of power. There are some that have the potential to do it, but it's very little. But hey, All only thing. Oh, and I know what some of you guys might say. Well, if he can sense everybody's power on the planet, can't he just sense All For One and make the story pretty much redundant? Yes, he can. But since he's never really met All For One in person, he can't really pinpoint where he is exactly. And plus, Izuku would have to single him out of out of what? I don't know how many people are on the planet of My Hero Academia. Maybe 8 to 10 billion people. So it would be damn near impossible for him to do that. And also, All For One is a master of disguise. He could be disguising his power and just holding it back as well. So Izuku can't just simply single one person out of everything. So yeah, that's why we keep that story kind of redundant in this state. So the bomb training test. I'm keeping the teams the same, but still, it's pretty much a wash as well for Izuku. He's just way too massively broken for anyone to relatively do anything to him. Oh boy. But people are going to start figuring out Izuku's like way much stronger than he lets on. Because remember, he's only been using his base form. He hasn't been doing anything else yet. But as of right now, guys, we're going to leave that up to the next part. Because our next part is going to be the USJ and the sports festival. I'm going to plan on making other videos. So, you guys enjoyed my new intro. Now it's time for you guys to enjoy the new outro I had made. I'm glad to be back for you guys. I miss you guys a lot over these years and over this time. But I hope you guys get to enjoy more of my series and more of my time. Be sure to watch the previous videos I put up there. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Y'all already know what to do. I will see you guys next time. Peace!